Okay, so this is a video on how to install Multistreamer. This is meant for like if you're just a user of Multistreamer, this is probably not the video you want to watch. I'll put a link in the description or something for like the user end, of doing all this. This is for the sysadmin who wants to install it on some server, for people to use. So what I have here on the screen is I have an SSH session open to a plain Jane Ubuntu VM running 1604. I've already installed some of the prereq packages for compiling things, but I've got them all in the README of this project, so you can just copy paste that line. And tmux and vim, and those are the only packages outside of the base install that I've installed here. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you're going to need to do is get an Nginx compiled that you can use. You can either install your own Nginx, or you can just use OpenResty. And OpenResty will make this a little bit easier. So I'm just copy pasting from the wiki here on the README. Apt-get install some stuff. I've already got all that installed. So let's go ahead and make a build folder and change into that. So I have all our build stuff in here. And then we're just going to download some packages and extract them by, just running curl and piping into tar. And yeah, I plan in this video to go over every single configuration setting of Multistreamer and explain what it all means. But for now, let's just, I can't copy and paste today. Just copy and paste some things into here. I got some longer lines. There we go. And in addition to OpenResty, I'm also going to be installing Lua rocks, specifically for OpenResty. Okay. So let's cd into the OpenResty folder. And I've got pre-written, configure line. So, it's your basic /configure. I'm installing it into its own prefix at opt OpenResty TMP. I never, whenever I install anything manually, I always put an opt, so I know exactly where it's, where it's at and all that. And then some standard options here, enabling pcreJIT and IPv6. With Stream and with Stream SSL, those are the non-standard modules. Like they're just not compiled by default, but those that enables TCP connections. You need that for the IRC server. And then we're adding some modules here, the RTMP module and the Stream Lua module. So that lets us run Lua in a TCP stream. So that's what lets the IRC server works in addition to the normal Stream module. All right, so let that do its thing. And so let's take a little bit. While I'm waiting on that, I should probably install some of the other prerequisites I didn't think about, like PostgreSQL and Redis. So let me get that going here. And I always forget what's called on Ubuntu. Is it PostgreSQL server maybe? Oh, whoops. I definitely typoed that. Let's try that again. Maybe it's just PostgreSQL now. Yeah, that looks right. Cool. All right, we'll get that going in the background. Okay, sweet. So we're done configuring OpenResty. So let's go and build it. Let's check on that. Okay, that's all done. And let's make sure it's all running. Yep. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I should have done that before starting the video, but oh well. Let's let this cruise. This doesn't take too long usually. I think if you go with the alternate option of installing, just Nginx plus modules instead of the full-blown OpenResty package, that might be a little bit faster to install, but I don't think it makes too big of a difference. Okay, cool. So then we'll make it install that. There we go. So now if we look at opt, we've got an OpenResty folder. So let's get out of here and go into the Lua Rocks folder and configure that. So, oh dang it. I didn't copy the initial dot at the beginning there. /configure, that's better. So yes, there's our prefix install to OpenResty RTMP. Telling it where to find Lua, the fact that it needs a suffix because this is legit, where to find the include folder. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. That all looks good. So let's do make build and make install. All right. So now if we looked at opt OpenResty bin, we'll see some Lua Rocks, binaries in there. Okay. So then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and modify our path to put this Lua Rocks ahead of any other Lua Rocks on the system. And also just add to the path to make things easy. So let's do export path equals opt OpenResty RTMP bin path. There we go. So now I can just type Lua Rocks and things happen. And you'll notice that this is obviously the one we just compiled and installed. So, before you go any further, it's probably a good idea to just type OpenRocks and look at this output, or OpenRocks Lua Rocks. Check out this output here. Make sure you don't see anything, that it's where the right Lua Rocks, basically. Okay. So before we actually get into installing actual Multistreamer doesn't do its own authentication. It relies on you setting up basically like a little authentication microservice. And I've got two on GitHub that I've made. One is called the HT password auth server, and there's the LDAP auth server, and they're both really similar. One just works with HT password files. One works with LDAP. And the whole idea is that it's pretty easy to, you can build your own in anything you want, like PHP or Python or something, and have it auth against whatever you want. So you can write something that does auth against WordPress or auth against Drupal or, anything you can think of, really. For this video, I'm just going to do the HT password one because that's really, really quick and easy to get up and running. So let's get clone the HT password auth server. Go into that. And then I've got some Lua modules to install. So let's see here, we got Lua POSIX. And yeah, when you run Lua Rocks with the -- tree option, that lets you specify what folder you want to go into, or like where you want to install your rocks. And that's pretty nice because that means I can have each project has its own collection of rocks. I don't have like global rocks anywhere. I think you could probably just do, sudo Lua Rocks install globally, but I'm not a big fan of that. So let's see here. Can make a copy of the example config file and go edit it. Let's see, opt OpenResty RTMP, Nginx sbin Nginx, and everything else we'll leave at the default. Let's set this just to be explicit. Listen on localhost port 8080. Yep, that's all fine. So now if we okay, yeah, HT password auth server, since I don't have Luagit in my path right now, we'll just go ahead and specify where it is instead of adding it to the path. So Luagit bin Luagit. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and add a user, John. We'll just do some stupid password, and then let's run it. And so yeah, you'll want to wind up making some kind of service file for this, which I'm not realizing I don't have any like example like systemd unit files or anything in the repo, so I'll get that added. I mean they're pretty easy to write, but in fact I can probably just grab one off of somewhere here real quick. Let me go to let's see here. Yeah, okay, that's I can just paste one in here real quick. But anyways, okay, so that's running. So let me switch to another my other Tmux tab here. You can verify that the thing's working by just using curl and connecting to it. And this doesn't spit out any content. It strictly sends back some headers, so you have to have that dash include to see anything. And then in curl, you can do dash user and then just username, and then we'll prompt you for your password. And there we go. We have a 204, no content. That is a success. Whereas, like, let me try a non-existent user. I get a 401. So that means that this guy is working. So let's go ahead and make a systemd. Has Ubuntu 16 not switched to systemd? Okay, there it is. I thought they had that. HT password auth server service. And I'm really just copy pasting the one I use for LDAP, and I was going to change it. Okay, there's all that. Change LDAP to HT password. And this is going to be my home folder now, so let's just do home. We'll add the legit path. Yep, legit. Bin legit. There we go. So now I ought to be able to do systemctl start ht password auth server dot service. Now let's do that curl again. Oh dang, what happened here? I probably need to specify what folder I need to be in. Well, no, I feel like that. I thought my script changed folders for me, but maybe it doesn't. Let me look this up real quick. I'm sorry. Systemd working directory. Oh, okay, it's just working directory. Oh, wait, I'm real dumb. Is it daemon reload? I think it was right. And let's try restart. See what's running. What am I doing wrong here? Well, let's add the working directory too. Okay, there we go. That was my problem. Okay, so yeah, I'll add what I just wrote into the repo there, so that it's easier just to copy and paste somewhere. And then let's also double check that it's actually like working. Okay, cool. So that's up and running. That's taken care of. So now we can actually do Multistreamer. So let's of course I used the tab I had it open with to go look things up. There we go. Copy. Okay. Oh, I forgot to install FFmpeg before I did all this, which we'll install it later because we don't need it until we actually start streaming. Okay. So let's see, let's install some Lua modules. And For the record, I don't recommend using the HT password auth server in production. It's worth setting up LDAP or something like that. I use the HT password auth server when I'm doing development like on my local machine, and I don't want to mess around with LDAP. I've forgotten how much Lapis installs. All right. Okay. Oh, that's right. Before I install, where am I? I have to install LuRox fetch git rec. So let's do that. And I might have to install that one globally. Yeah. Oh, dang it. Yeah. Okay, now if I install this, we should be good. Perfect. Okay. So then the very next thing we'll do is start editing the config file. So let's see here, we've got this config.lua.example, so we'll copy that to config.lua. Okay. So one thing you can do if you, so the actual config file is written in Lua, so it helps to know like a little bit of Lua before you do this, but you can split the config into multiple sections. Here I have a development and a production. I'll just keep these the same for now, but you can have one config file that you use in multiple environments and things like that, but for now, it's, whatever. We'll just add some crap to the secret, so that's not the default, because we'll get an error when it's the default. Okay. Okay, so this HTTP prefix key, if you're setting this up so that it's going to be behind maybe a reverse proxy, where you are putting it under not the root of your, domain, like if you want this to run at /multistreamer or at, /John/multistreamer or something like that, this is where you would put that prefix. I'm just going to leave it blank because I'm going to be running this at the, just at the root. The RTMP prefix, that is, required to set. It has to be something. Nginx, let's change that to our Nginx sbin. Change that to our OpenResty Nginx. pSQL, that's the default, that's fine. FFmpeg, that's fine. We'll keep that logging level. Okay, so then this section here, public HTTP URL and public RTMP and private HTTP, private RTMP. These are extremely important. So later on, when you want to, stream to actual services like Twitch and Facebook and all that, and you want to set up OAuth authentication, what Multistreamer is going to, when you do OAuth, you have to send a URL to that third-party service saying, once the user is authorized, that they can use this app, send them back to this URL, right? So public HTTP URL needs to, be whatever your public thing is, right? So like I'll be running this on localhost :8081, but more than likely I kind of expect you to put some kind of reverse proxy in front of it that listens on port 80 or port 443 with SSL or whatever. And Multistreamer is like, there's no way for it to detect, what that publicly reachable URL is. So you want to make sure that this is something that, you can hit. And you want to make basically what'll happen is when you go to do OAuth, Multistreamer is going to take this public HTTP URL and then concatenate it with your HTTP prefix from above, along with like /auth/Facebook or /auth/Twitch or whatever it is. So yeah, I'm kind of harping on this one because I had something like not, kind of struggle with this part of it. So yeah, public HTTP URL needs to be some URL that you can actually hit from the outside world. So I'm gonna call this. I'll just put my virtual machine's IP address here, 59.11. I'm not gonna. So if you're running this on some non-standard port, this is where you would put it. However, I'm gonna set up Nginx as a reverse proxy in front of this. So I'm gonna leave that blank, or not, attached to port here. So yeah, similar thing with public RTMP URL. You want whatever you want, whatever the user's going to ultimately type into OBS or whatever. That's what you want to put here, and you want to, like on my in my setup, I have Stunnel running in front of this, providing SSL. So there I put RTMPS : / blah blah blah. If you don't, if you just want people to connect directly with no encryption or whatever, you can just put your public IP, in the port. Some private HTTP URL, these are going to be used when somebody actually starts streaming. What's going to happen under the hood is FFmpeg is going to spawn and pull from this URL, from this private RTMP URL, and it's going to make some post requests to that private HTTP URL. So it's going to pull the RTMP video, and it's going to make a post saying like, hey, this is streaming right now. And then that's what actually triggers Multistreamer to go out and like update all your video streaming services, metadata, and all that stuff. So definitely, again, make sure that's set to basically, it usually winds up just being, protocol : / whatever you typed into the listen, interface line, which is further down. Yeah. So there's that. Public IRC hostname, public IRC port. Again, like in my case, I have Stunnel listening on port 7000, providing SSL. So since I'm not going to be setting that up right now, so I'm just going to have it connect directly, to port 6667, and then public IRC hostname. This one's not really that as important. I mean, it is, because what happens is when somebody logs in, that's the string they're going to see. Like there's a section of Multistreamer that says like, hey, here's how you connect to IRC, here's the host, here's the port. So you want that to be, something you just copy and paste in there. So if you have a host name, put in your host name. If you're just doing IP addresses, put in your IP address, whatever. And then let's see, I am not running a terminator. So this flag just specifies like, in the web interface, should it tell them to use SSL or not? That's all that really does. Okay. So then this section down here, networks, that's this is where you add your different IDs and secrets for setting up your external services. So for instance, on Twitch, and this, I've got this all documented in the wiki on Multistreamer, so go read that. But that has the details on how you go and actually create apps on your different services and where to go get your keys. And so once you have your once you have your keys for Twitch, this is how Lua does comments. So we'll just remove these double dashes, right? And then just paste into here, whatever you got for your client ID and client secret. For now though, we'll just do RTMP. Postgres connection settings. You'll have in here how you connect to Postgres, and so in a few minutes, I'll be making a user on my Postgres database. I'll just leave that on the default. So then the HTTP listen, RTMP listen, this is what gets basically pasted into the Nginx config file that gets generated, for this whole thing. So you'll want to look up Nginx's docs on, how to use this line. Yeah, so for instance, if you wanted to do the SSL RTMP thing here, you could put in here, I only want this to listen on port 1935 on localhost, and then in your in like Stunnel or something, you have it listen on some other port and then connect to localhost 1935. Oh, whoops, too many. And then yes, whoops, I forgot about the IRC one. So yeah, IRC listen, similar to the others, you specify like if you just have a port, it's going to listen on all interfaces on that port. If you specify, oh crap, I think it's : they'll listen on all IPv6 interfaces and I think all IPv4. I forget. Like I said, usually in all this, I just have it set to localhost anyway, so I'm not even really sure. IRC hostname, that's just when people connect with IRC, they'll there's messages that get generated like welcome to blah 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 blah, and that's what gets pasted in there. It's not really that important. Force IRC join is pretty handy. Basically, when a user connects with IRC and they start streaming, if this is set to true, the IRC server will automatically make them join the room for their stream, as opposed to them having to actually, join on their own. And that's pretty handy because there's some clients that do IRC like ADM and Pigeon, and a few others that aren't that great at actually like listing. Like I don't think Pigeon even has an interface to list IRC rooms, or maybe it does. You know what? I'm gonna take that back. I'm actually pretty sure it does. But it's definitely non-obvious and kind of clunky, so this is a nice thing to have. So you can just tell people like, hey, once you're connected to IRC, like you're good to go. Once you start streaming, you'll be in the room. It's fine. Even some clients like HexChat, is a pretty solid IRC client, but they have this weird thing where they assume you're connecting to networks where asking for a list of all the rooms is gonna, destroy your computer because the list is so huge. So they default to where if you type /list, you get this interface where you have to specify like, oh, show me rooms with so many people, so you'll have this thing where it pulls down like the rooms are all there, but the window is empty because the default parameters are to only show rooms with 5 or more people in them or something like that. And again, it's kind of like, it's just really annoying. So I really like having the force join thing in there. Worker processes, you can increase the number of processes. So, you could go off and like set this to however many cores this thing has, or something like that. But I only run this on small things with a few people. So, one's probably fine. The auth endpoint, that is, we just set up that HTTP password auth server. So you type in the URL to wherever you set up that auth server at, whether it's LDAP or the HTTP password one or something else entirely. And so this URL needs to be reachable, from this box. So if it's running on another machine, you'll want to punch in the other machine's host name or IP address or something. Then we have the Redis host and the Redis prefix. So what, Redis stuff to do. SSL trusted certificate. And there's also down here DNS resolver and SSL verified depth. Those are pretty important. When you use the external, like when you use things like Facebook and YouTube, because all those API endpoints have to be hit up with SSL, and it's not all the metadata stuff is not running in like a normal Nginx context. It's running in this like weird background thing. So it's important that you have this set, because all these entries basically go direct into the Nginx config file. So that SSL trusted certificate, that needs to point to wherever your trusted cert store is. On most distros, I'm pretty sure it's under etc SSL certs, CA certificates. And then you have to specify some DNS resolver. If you're running one on localhost, you can do that, or you can specify an external one or whatever. And then verified depth, that's for you know, when servers send SSL info, they send like a certificate chain. And if I read the docs right, I'm still not sure if I read this right, but I think it's how many, this number is how many like how long the chain can be, basically. Like, you know, will you verify it up to 5 certs or 6 or 7? So you probably don't need this. I don't think most things send more than like 3 certificates in a chain, but I mean, there might be more. I don't know, so far I've been fine with 5. And then yeah, if you want to have some other directory for the working directory instead of, you know, /home dot multistreamer, you can set it here. Woo! Okay. So that's that. So let me come to a new tab here. I'm going to change to the Postgres user. And I'm going to make the Multistreamer user and database. So let's see here. Create user Multistreamer with password Multistreamer. Make that nice and easy. You should probably create something more random than that. Okay, so that's done. So now, let's see. I know I'm gonna have to specify the path to my Lua. So let's do opt openrest luajit bin luajit, and then my environment. Again, in my config file, development and production are the same environment. But if you have multiple, you can do that. And then there we go. So let's go ahead and init the database. So this will, all right. So that ran a bunch of SQL to get the database up and going. So now if I let's connect to the Multistreamer database and view the tables. Right, there's tables for accounts, blah blah blah, users, etc. Cool. So now let's go ahead and run this guy and switch to Firefox. Let's connect to 192.168. Oops. 15. Sorry, I have a microphone on my face. It makes everything a little bit awkward. 881. Oh, you know what? I didn't change the listen directive, and I originally was going to set up reverse proxy on port 80. I forgot about all that. So let me actually do this then. Let's find my listen, and let's change that to listen on. We'll listen on all ports 881 for now, and then I'll come back and lock that down. Hey, cool. So now we see the Multistreamer login screen, and if I log in with that username and password I made up earlier, we're logged in. And so you'll see here, like, there's that IRC info I was talking about, how those basically just get dumped into the thing. Yeah, and so I'll have a separate video on using Multistreamer. For now, I'm just gonna, like, you're running, you're good to go, huzzah. And so yeah, check the wiki on setting up external services, or like for Twitch, Facebook, etc. I'm gonna go ahead though, and let's do this real quick. Ubuntu is a package called Nginx Lite, which has the bare minimum we need to set up reverse proxy real quick. I'm checking out another reverse proxy I have somewhere. Okay, cool. So let's do yeah, we'll just use this guy. Okay. And we'll just trash all that shit. And let's see here. I'm going to be real lazy with my indentation. Proxy pass. http://127.0.0.1. So we're going to be passing this to Multistreamer. And that's it. That should do it. So let's do sudo systemctl reload nginx.service. And then let's see here, curl localhost. Cool. Like, that's fine. It's a bad gateway, but that means that it's responding, right? Nginx is running. So now let's edit the config.lua. Let's find my listen. Let's set that back to only on localhost. And then let's run this guy. So now if I switch back to Firefox, if I try to do a refresh here on 8081, I should get a connection refused. But now if I go to just regular port 80, there we go. Hey. And so yeah, in your like in my setup, I use my reverse proxy to provide SSL and any if you have any rules about what IP addresses are allowed and things like that, you can do it there. So yeah, that's really about it. The other remaining steps are to set it up as an actual service. And so in here, I've actually got, under the miscellaneous folder, I've got a service file you can use. So we'll just copy that to etc systemd system, and then let's edit it. So let's see here. OpenResty RTMP. So this is one thing. This is one thing I do like about using the regular like making your own Nginx instead of the OpenResty one. Is OpenResty installs its own LuaJIT, whereas you can just build an Nginx that uses your own LuaJIT from your system's packages. And then you have LuaJIT in your path, and you don't have to have all these extra command line things all over the place. Anyways, legit. Been legit. And I'm 99% sure I don't have to set the working directory for this one. I'm pretty sure that the script in this one is a little bit smarter and figures it out, since this is the thing I spent way more time writing. Like, I really didn't spend a lot of time on the HTTP password auth server. That just, I got it running and said, okay, done, bye. So let's see here. Cool. Yeah, there's the Multistreamer one running right here. Let's do install htop real quick, so I can view this as a tree. So yeah, there's the Multistreamer one. Cool. So now if I come here, it still works. All right. Nice. Huh. So yeah, that's basically the process for installing this. Like I said, there's more to do after this, like creating your keys for your different streaming services and so on. But that's really, like, I feel like that's a little bit outside the scope, because it's so easy. You just make your keys, you paste them in that config file, you're good to go. Like, that's it. You just want to triple check what you list under that public HTTP URL. Because let me pull this up here. Because yeah, in here I punched in just the okay, I don't know what I was gonna say about that. Yeah, so basically, you're gonna take this, add this, and then add /auth/service name, and that gets sent to the third-party service as the redirect parameter for OAuth. So that has to be something that's reachable from your user's machine at home or wherever they're doing all this. And And that's something interesting. It doesn't have to be reachable by, say, Facebook or YouTube or whatever. It just has to be reachable from the web browser, right? So if you're hacking on this in your own machine, you can set that public HTTP URL to like localhost. That's fine, so long as it's not that YouTube has to contact localhost. It's just that YouTube has to redirect the user to localhost. So as long as the user can hit localhost, you're fine. So that's good to know. I'm just trying to rack my brain real quick here. I'm looking at my README, seeing if there's anything I skipped over. Nope, that's about it. At that point, you are good to go. Yeah. So, be really careful with the public versus private, URLs. You'll, like I said, I wrote this with the idea that you'd be running things behind reverse proxies, and the reverse proxies provide, IP access control if you need that, enforcing SSL, etc. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope this helped make things easier for you. And yeah, have a good day.